And good morning, beautiful people. You know what time it is. It is tea time.
The New Jersey Coalition Against Sexual Assault invites you to join us on Saturday, May 7th in Asbury Park for our 6th annual Sexual Assault Awareness Month 5K. For more information, please visit www.njcasa.org.
Hello, and welcome to our show, Conversations with Lady T, where we bring guests on our show to talk about issues and topics that matter. Today I have this dynamite gentleman, Eugene Marsh. I've known him for quite a few years from Princeton Chamber, and when you hear his story, he is dynamic, he's awesome, he's a serious brother. So, Eugene, welcome to the show. I'm so glad to have you here.
Good morning, Sharon, and thank you for inviting me. I'm so honored. Thank you.
No, I'm honored. I'm truly honored because you are really such an inspiration. When I hear your accomplishments and where you started and where you are now, I'm just so amazed. And you are true, not idol, but you're a true mentor to people.
Thank you.
Whether they're young, old, women, men, you are truly a dynamic person. And
well, I believe that comment. I thank you very much for those kind words, and just to resonate with my own personal growth and development, how I have grown both personally, professionally, and spiritually in my own paradigm, to really give me a chance to really reflect upon the opportunities that I've been given.
Right. Yeah. So just tell us where you started. I know it's probably a long journey.
Well, it's been a journey, but it's been an intense journey that resonated with me as a child growing up in South Carolina, doing these struggles with civil rights during the time of segregation in the South. Grew up in a foster family in South Carolina, the oldest male child of 13 children. Took upon the responsibilities as a young man to be the man of the house, even though I didn't know what a man was or is, having no father figure in the home itself. And just the nature of my foster mother and the environment and the nature and the nurture she provided to me as a young man really began to mold my own identity as a young man of what possibilities could occur. And coming out of that situation of growing up in South Carolina during the era of Jim Crow, it was very tough for a young black man like myself, trying to navigate through the society of racism and bigotry, and trying to identify who you were and what you could become. And that was very limited for me as an African American in South Carolina.
I can imagine. Those times were crazy, and to be here to talk about it is wonderful.
And one of the things that I really, I say this in all due respect, it was during a time of segregation in South Carolina, the racism was such a part of the culture, and not understanding myself as African American who grew up in a very segregated community, and having to deal with issues of racism and the N-word was enunciated by white males and white females that could not address me by my full name. Carried some issues over for me as to when I entered school in 1965 in South Carolina, in Lancaster, South Carolina. Gave me a reason to search out why was I being treated so differently, and why was a line drawn in the sand in South Carolina across the railroad tracks that African American was forbidden not to cross. So I chose to become the first African American to integrate school in 1965.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. And it's wonderful, but I'm sure it must have been such a struggle to get there.
It was a challenge. It wasn't a walk in the park by no means. But to take upon this challenge or this opportunity to integrate the school was to begin to self-identify who I was and what I could become, because it was like having a wall that could not be penetrated because of the system of racism was so tall and so demanding that no one wanted to go beyond the barriers there. So I did so, and graduated in 1967, but during my 2 years at Lancaster High School, was pure hell.
Oh boy.
It was each and every day I was subjected to racism, the bigotry, the name calling, and just the environment that I had to embrace as an African American student was a day of learning about myself, and through myself, for myself, I began to understand what were the situations that white students looked upon me as, and what was the system that caused them to denote their anger and hatred towards me.
Right. And I'm sure that must have messed up your self-esteem to some degree, at some point.
It did.
Yeah.
That means self-esteem, lack of confidence, the ability to communicate, being ostracized by white students, and not only the white students, but the white teachers as well. And in the system of education, being the fact that African Americans was not permitted to integrate to schools in South Carolina, so there was a different paradigm in terms of black education and white education. So being exposed to white education was really a shocker for me, because I remember when I integrated the school in 1965, I received brand new books. And the books that I received was still in wrappers. And as a student, as African American, we received used books from previous years from white students. So those books came to us, already had been written in, they already denoted the N-word in the books, and those were the system of disadvantage for education for African Americans in the South, and especially for those young people like myself who were trying to attain education, had to be considered less qualified, less educated because of the bureaucracy in terms of education deployed.
Wow. Look, on that note, I think we better have some tea, because that's a serious topic, and it kind of boils you, and it makes you mad still today when you hear that, the struggles that we went through. Some of us worse than others, because I was born in 1962, so I'm sure by that time it might have gotten a little bit better, but, not a whole lot better.
Well, I mean, those conditions, I think racism is still a part of society. It has not diminished, but there are certain factors that I experienced as African American coming back from Vietnam and being exposed to the same issues that I experienced before I left, so yes.
Right. So today I have a sweet honey bush vanilla. It's a tea from South Africa, naturally no caffeine, very high in antioxidant. It is fabulous. So I say, I don't think you use sugar, right? So
I do not.
Yeah, and I always say try it first anyway.
Okay.
So.
All right, thank you. And the name of the tea again is?
This is a sweet honey bush vanilla.
Sweet honey bush vanilla. Delicious.
Yes.
It is.
It is nice and smooth, right?
Yes.
So this is kind of warming my soul right now.
Yes.
Taking it down a notch. After hearing that, it's like, wow, it's like really why, because I had, some issues, but nothing to compare to what you had. Nothing to compare to what you had.
But those experiences, Sharon, it not only came out of the fact of my own inability to understand, but to transform myself to where I am today, and to yes, I was bitter. I was very angry. I was very hostile.
I'm sure.
But through this journey that I'm on, I have turned bitterness into betterness.
There you go.
And opportunity to change the dynamics of my environment and to control my own environment and set my own stage of a destination.
Well said. I love that.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
So now tell us, I know you were in the service, just tell us about that journey as well, because I know you're a vet.
I am, and I'm proud to say that I served my country, and as most young African Americans who came out of the South during the 60s wanted to prove their distinction of being a man, and that was very limited titles that African Americans could showcase, and one is to be a soldier, and having a uniform, and that was a distinguish of their embracing their patriotism and being a part of the military. Served 3 years in the military, 1 tour of duty in Vietnam. I was assigned to the 101st Airborne Division, infantry. Just have a year that was a year that I would say in my life that came in was in a vacuum. It was locked in time. Came from Vietnam in 1970, poor, black, and uneducated. Reading maybe on the 5th or 6th grade level, Didn't understand what was my purpose in life. I was a homeless veteran for about 2.5 years.
Wow, that's a long
in
time.
South Carolina, unable to find a job, unable to even be employed because of the stigma associated by being a Vietnam veteran. At that time, even many of the young men who came back when I came back from Vietnam was ashamed to even tell employers that they served in Vietnam because of the stigma associated with that. But that in itself was a growing period for me in South Carolina. The fact that I had no education, I graduated from high school, but my equivalent to education was less than that. And I began to do some soul searching because of what I wanted to become, but didn't know how to become.
Okay.
And my foster mother, who raised me, was an illiterate woman, totally to a point of her own upbringing as a child. Came in part of her own culture and society. So I understood from where I was as a young man what she had to endure, what she endured as a woman of color. And from that point, I came out with saying, she raised 13 children in the foster home, and gave me a sense of respect, understanding who I was, morals, positive views, conceptual, being very, very engaged in spiritual faith. And that in itself evolved in terms of I call it the roadmap, not knowing exactly how the puzzle would be completed or if there was a puzzle, but taking one piece at a time and just drawing in what I thought could be possibilities and following my faith. And my faith carried me and continued to carry me through various mountains and valleys, being failing but being successful, and learning from those opportunities, and also having individuals who came to my life to inspire me to directions where I am today.
So, who was the person that helped you? I mean, was it an organization? Was it a person that you had to speak to get help?
There were. I remember. Well, first of all, I'm gonna give my mother the utmost respect because she's the person who laid the foundation, the nurture and the nature that I was exposed to as a young man, and I think that was the frontal piece, or that was the molding piece of my life. And out of that, the individuals that I knew and those who knew me inspired me, encouraged me, motivated me to not to just sit there and complain, but do something about it.
It's true.
And that in itself was a challenge, because I did not know all the components to address it. But throughout my development, throughout the stages, I've had so many individuals who have come into my life, saw my heart and my head, and began to address how I as a person could evolve. And that was really the test. And there are many people along the highways and byways that captured my attention. And I also was able to see them in terms of what they have inspired and how they got there. And I always been a very inquisitive person. I always like to ask questions, find out, how did you do
That's how you learn.
Right, how did you do this? I mean, what was your path? I mean, what motivated you? And it goes back to a simple component, that education. That is the most truly valuable resource to me that has allowed me to sort of triumph and continue down this path, because I am this open and have become very open to opportunities of education.
Yeah, and I know you're in school right now.
I am.
And I was like, wow, I'm meeting so many people that are older or over 50 that are in school, and I know for myself, I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I could do it, but everyone's like, oh no, you can do it, you can do it. And even up to last week, I was at this political training, and this lady I think she's like almost 60, said, oh no, I didn't want to go back, but I'm there and I'm doing well, and you got to go. And it's just, so I really get so excited when I hear people are doing that. It takes some real strength at our age to say, okay, I'm going back. But like you said, learning is fun, learning is great in terms of progress.
I think the world is a large dictionary, and there's so many things that you can learn from it, from the world, from people who are in the world, people who comes into your life. And I built a very successful construction company, and that came out of my own birth for wanting to be an entrepreneur, and in doing so, engaging in resources of education and going to business seminars and networking. brought all these brought information to me and began to sort of it's like planting cultivating a plant.
Right.
And you begin to get cultivated, you begin to see it blossom and see it grow. But what really inspired me was the fact that as I built a successful company, and as you may know, my firm renovated the Statue of Liberty.
Yes, please tell us about that, because you have won some awards, you've been keynote speaker. That's why I say to everybody, this man is amazing.
Thank you, Sharon.
Especially when you hear, where he came from and all the struggles. You're amazing.
Thank you, Sharon.
You're amazing. But tell us about some of those things, because I want people to know, where you came from, where you are now, and that no matter what your life had or was.
Having gone through corporate America and worked on for some major construction projects from North Carolina to New Jersey to New York, and being exposed to the construction industry, it really fascinating. Again, I'm the kind of guy like to take things and to build them and take them apart.
Right.
Bottom line. And in doing so, I worked for a very large construction firm. We ended up, the firm that I was working for ended up getting the construction project at the Olympic Games 1996. Wow. From that point on, I was downsized. 1997, came out with an attitude, well, okay, maybe this is an opportunity for me to reflect and do something differently. Right. So I became an adjunct professor. Okay. And I taught construction courses at a local community college. Okay. And in doing so, it came to me that, well, you can teach courses, you might look at the possibility of running your own business. In 1998, I found my own construction company. And within the first 6 months of establishing my firm, I was selected by Merrill Lynch to build their multi-million-dollar headquarters in Hopewell Township. Yes. And that project was such an enormous project that I was featured in Black Enterprise magazine in 2000. Nice. And that evolved to projects that I began to network, began to build relationships. And one of the things I really stressed about entrepreneurship is being true to yourself, and being true to your values, to who you are, and focus on what you can do and what you have done, and not taking the other work that could be a possibility. Staying true to your core values. And my values resonate with my ethics, with my commitment, with my from the door of opening my company to all of my employees, the integrity, which is a focal point of being true to our clients and not do anything unethical that will cause them to leave us. So I focused on those points, and those points evolved to where my firm was involved in construction projects and Yale New Haven Hospital. We built a joint venture with a construction company known as Turner Construction Company. I ended up doing the renovation of a church in Brooklyn, a very established, a landmark church, and doing work in Aberdeen with the military base. But the opportunities that came to our firm was about relationships and the integrity of having your name out there, that people recognize who you are and what your commitments is. And when I got a phone call from the local architect in Princeton, called me up and says, Mr. Marsh says, I'm happy to announce that we have been selected a project. And I said to Michael, I said, which project? But we had gone after several projects to be pre-qualified. He says, the Statue of Liberty. And I'm saying,
that is dynamic.
I said, the statue? He says, yes, Eugene. The Statue of Liberty, you will provide construction management services. So that in itself, Sharon, set the stage that who we are as a company. But our values and never deviated from our principles, and that in itself set the stage that anything is possible.
Anything is possible.
Yes.
And then from there, just so many doors have opened. I mean, like I said, we've known each other for quite a few years, and it's always, some doors, they just keep opening. And I know sometimes it takes a while. Like, you think you're doing the right thing, and some people say, well, nothing is, but then it just keeps flowing. God just keeps blessing you. And that's wonderful.
And that's the center, and that's the center where I am today. I'm at peace with myself. I'm at peace where God has brought me. I'm at peace where the trials and tribulations and the mountains and valleys that I have journeyed over It brought me to where I am now. So when I decided to go back to school, lingering at the fact that I did not have a college degree, but knowing the fact that this was in essence of me fulfilling a personal mission and a vision that I wanted.
Right.
I wanted to have this. I wanted to have this piece of paper, with my name on it, with a name of a university or college. So I went back to school, received my associate from Mercer County Community College, and as an architectural science, because I wanted to be an architect. That was my first premise. Okay. And then after receiving my associate, I was like, oh, this is wonderful. Yeah. I'm
on a roll.
I want to roll now, right? So I did some searching. Some searching around the local area, and I found the best seated institution, higher learning at Rice University.
Right.
And that was in 2010. And Sharon, I cannot tell you. It must have been a blessing from heaven, because I walked in the door scared as hell.
Oh my gosh.
I was frightened. did not know how I was going to take. Here I am in my mid 50s.
Right.
Going back to school to get a 4-year degree. And here I am sitting in the classroom with kids 18 and 19 and 20 years old.
Did you feel intimidated? What was the exact feeling?
I was truly intimidated. Being the oldest male and the oldest black male in the class. Okay, it sent a signal to me as I was looking over the heads of the students in the class, and the teacher was in front, and I'm sitting there saying, now, what are you doing here?
What am I getting myself into?
Yeah, what am I getting myself into? But that was truly an awakening moment for me to experience that. And I said to myself, there's no way I'm turning back. Wow. I am not going back. I'm going. This is a journey that I'm on. Yes. I'm here for a purpose. And Sharon, the professors at the university has enunciated time and time again, even as yesterday, Mr. Marsh, we are so happy that you are a part of this university. Yeah. And you are, as you said, Sharon, Eugene, you are a role model to the students.
I bet you those students are so proud of you. They probably they're like, why is this old guy here?
Yes.
But I'm sure after they got to know you, they probably were like, wow.
And that in itself, and again, I don't go out seeking that recognition, but I think the manner in which I carry myself in a professional manner, I understand the importance of education, I understand the importance of business, and then as I was going through my classes, I chose my major. I got a bachelor's of science, a bachelor's degree, and I minored in history. Nice. And one of the faculties came to me and says, "Would you be interested in applying application to be the commencement speaker?" And I said no. I said no because what I thought was my first thought was they would want a younger student who's went through the 4 years.
Right.
Well, Sharon, guess what?
You did it.
I applied. To be the commencement speaker.
Good for you.
And I was selected by the commencement committee to be the keynote speaker in 2014.
Nice.
And from what I have been told and continue to hear, that my commencement speech still resonates even as of today, of how my speech touched lives of individuals who heard me speak. And I take that as a component of a gift that I have been given, and to share it with the world, and to open the opportunity for those who may not see themselves in this paradigm, but give them hope and inspire them of what they can become. Right. And when I stood there, giving that commencement speech, there was a moment that just came to a still, that I was though that the light had shined down upon me for that moment, just to say thank you for this opportunity.
It's beautiful. That's beautiful. I mean, it's a great thing when you can inspire others. It really is, and I tell you, I always see these things that I'm reading. Eugene is doing it again. Eugene is doing it again. Like there's no stopping you. No stopping you, and that's beautiful. It's so beautiful.
Well, when I graduated, from after receiving my undergrad degree, I was really interested in becoming a school teacher.
Okay.
That was my I love to teach math and science.
Nice.
And during that transformation, during that time period, I said, that's not what I want to do. And I spoke to several individuals in my circle at the university, and each of them said to me, "You should be a counselor. You should be a counselor." And as you know, my foremost interest is working with men and women who are veterans in the military.
Yes.
And I met with the professors of the counseling program, and they all eager. They all said to me, "Eugene, you would be a perfect match for this program. Look at your life. Look at what you. It's not just something you're going to just go into, but you have already demonstrated." And you are demonstrating what your interest is.
Yes.
So I chose to pursue a master's in clinical mental health.
Look.
Clinical mental health. I'm halfway through the program, and I'm having the best of time in this field because it gives me an opportunity to not only learn skills of counseling, but how to apply these techniques and information that when I finish my program, eventually I will do that in 2017, that I will be able to turn those skills and those education that I've learned to help veterans who are returned and those who have returned home from the war.
I just started on my show some time ago, Positive Black Imagers. You're the man. Totally positive. Positive. People need to look at you and say, you know what? He can do it. I mean, truly, everybody says, oh, you can do it, you can do it. But when you hear some people, hear where they started, hear their journey to see where they are today, and that's why I really wanted to bring on the show because and it's like I knew you for a few years, but I didn't know your whole story until that day we went for lunch, and then I was like, wow.
Well, I'm in the process of writing my book,
Yes.
which is in the middle stage right now. So I'm looking to have a drop date of sometime in December of this year.
Wonderful.
But I think it's all about, Sharon, also about just giving yourself back to your community, giving yourself freely and openly to those and to anyone who was willing to embrace it. Last year, I was sitting at my desk at the university, and I was doing my studies and whatnot, and I got this phone call from a very prestigious law firm, called me up on the phone and says, my name is, and he says, I'd like to speak to Mr. Marsh. I said, this is Eugene. And he gave me a quick verbiage of what he wanted, and I sort of responded by saying, who are you again? And I said, I'll get back to you, and I called him up, and then we talked, and I went to his office and met with him. Where he's a partner of a very prestigious law firm here in Princeton. And I went and met with him. He said, I'm gonna paraphrase. He says, Mr. Marsh, he says, your name came very highly recommended to my law firm. And the reason it is we are seeking candidates to be nominated to serve on the New Jersey Supreme Court.
Yes, I
committed.
remember when you said that. That is awesome.
Sharon,
Awesome.
I was speechless. I did not say why me. I said to myself, in life ways of journeys, it's not who you see, but who sees you.
Exactly.
And that's
I think that is
and
really
that's
the
the
key.
premise. That's the premise. Because you're out there in the world and you're doing your thing, and you're going here, you're going there, you're raising your family, you're wanting to work. But the essence of your embodiment of who you are as a person can resonate with people who sees you from a distance.
Right, they see you from a distance.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I try to continue my faith and my belief of being ethical, having the true honesty of respect for other people. Not taking anything for less value, but being assessed that this person is just as important as I am. There's no different in that.
Exactly.
And I think that value that when I spoke to the attorney, and he said to me, he says, I would like to submit your name to the Supreme Court. Sharon, I walked out of when I left, I had tears in my eyes.
That's awesome.
As I was walking back to my car, and I said how good God is.
Right.
And how blessed I am as a young man who picked cotton in South Carolina as a young boy to supplement income so that my sisters and brothers would have eggs and bacon on Sunday morning. And now here I am, have been recommended or been nominated to serve on the New Jersey Supreme Court Ethics Committee.
That's beautiful.
That's a blessing.
It's a blessing, but we're out of time. And that was like a perfect note to end. I am so honored, sir, honored to have you on the show.
I'm honored to be
here.
here.
And I hope that when people watch it, that they will be even more inspired and that they know that they can truly do anything. So thank you so much for coming on the show.
I'm honored. Thank you, Sharon.
And until next time, bye-bye.